Amazon last week held their Amazon Accelerate. I believe it was a 2-day online kind of webinar for Amazon sellers. And one of the things that they announced is local selling on Amazon. So much like Mercari recently added local selling, Amazon has done the same. They say, quote, with Amazon local selling, sellers can quickly and easily expand their multi-channel offerings by listing products in Amazon's store and offering them to local customers in designated areas for in-store pickup on the same day that they place an order. Amazon explained that when making an order, customers can select in-store pickup and receive a notification when it is ready that day, or they can choose fast local delivery by the seller. Amazon sellers can offer in-store pickup for products and services right now in specific zip codes. Customers can buy products from sellers for same-day pickup at the seller's local store or choose fast local delivery, and sellers can now apply to participate in local selling as the program expands throughout this year and during 2022. A store pickup tab for buy online, pickup in store will be available on the Amazon item detail page. Buyers can then see where and when they can pick up their item. And again, local delivery will also be an option. Pat Bigetel, Amazon's director of local selling, which probably is a new position, said during a presentation at Amazon Accelerate that the feature is an extension of, not a replacement for, national shipping. It says you can't limit a product to local only. So if you're going to make a product available on Amazon, you have to offer the standard national shipping, but you can, in addition, now add a local pickup or delivery option as well, but you can't do that exclusively. So if you are an Amazon FBM seller, let me know if that is something that you would use or not. As I've talked about numerous times here, I'm not currently selling on Amazon, so it doesn't mean much to me, but I don't know if that'll be a big deal for Amazon shoppers or not. I think most Amazon shoppers, and we're going to kind of get into that here in a minute, expect items to be delivered to them either through traditional means or by Amazon themselves. I don't know that a lot of them want to go actually to the store, or in many cases, this is going to be to somebody's house, which makes it even more uncomfortable to pick something up. Continuing on with Amazon, they also released their annual Small Business Empowerment Report. This article is on Forbes, and they talk about one of the things Amazon does apparently is from one year to the next, they change kind of the criteria and how they measure these various stats. So a lot of times the year-to-year comparisons don't necessarily line up, but they did talk about how many small business sellers that they have and what kind of business they're doing. One of the big changes that they made was previously Amazon considered people who were selling self-published content through their Kindle program as small business sellers. They have now removed those folks from that statistic. So the 2021 report, which was just released, has narrowed the focus to traditional Amazon.com sellers of items, and they claim there are nearly 2 million of them. The definition of a small business, according to Gartner, is a business with less than $1 billion in annual revenues and up to 999 employees. So me down here in my basement would absolutely qualify. As they say, there are nearly 2 million small business sellers selling on Amazon's marketplaces around the world. Of this, more than 500,000 of them are based here in the United States. In 2020, Amazon added 200,000 new sellers from around the world, a 45% increase from the prior year. So if you thought competition on Amazon was growing significantly, you would be correct. That is a big jump in sellers from year to year. For the period from September 2020 to August 2021, Amazon sellers on the platform averaged $200,000 in sales, up from $175,000 the year prior. So Amazon sellers, by and large, are doing really well. The number of huge sellers on Amazon has also grown. The number of U.S. sellers who passed $1 million in sales grew by nearly 15%, and the number of U.S. sellers that surpassed $10 million in sales increased nearly 40% over the same period last year. So big jump for the big sellers. The rich get richer, as they say. Amazon said that half of American third-party sellers take advantage of FBA. So there are about 250,000 of you here in the U.S. that are using Fulfillment by Amazon. Now, that is a component of the Amazon program that has come under a bit of fire for a variety of reasons. This article points out that Amazon has aggressively grown the capacity of FBA, increasing square footage across its worldwide network of distribution centers by 50% worldwide. And it's supposedly also hired 450,000 new employees to expand that capacity. Amazon, for their part, says that on average, shipping with FBA is 30% lower in cost compared with other shipping carriers. And while this article points out it is inarguable that 30% lower costs on fulfillment is a great deal and one that will attract many small businesses to the program, the problem can be that access to that fulfillment service can be abruptly paused or throttled. And they point out a couple of instances of that in 2020. Amazon deprioritized the fulfillment of non-essential items during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, meaning that many sellers could not actually sell their inventory. So you would send it in to FBA and it was essentially in jail. You couldn't ship it. So that's problematic. This writer wrote in 2021 how they had also throttled the storage capacity for many sellers. They changed the parameters for inventory storage limits and how much stuff sellers could send in. So people were out buying stuff based on the old metrics of how much stuff they could ship into Amazon. And Amazon changed, despite adding all that additional square footage, they essentially cut back the amount of items, the amount of SKUs that an individual seller could send in. So let me know, again, if you're an Amazon FBA seller, did you get caught up in any of that? Were you kind of cut off from sending things in? They also talked about a little bit about the Amazon marketing programs. 300,000 sellers, they say, are using Amazon stores, which is essentially a homepage that can be set up by brands to showcase their specific products, tell their brand story, and highlight deals. And 500,000 sellers, they say, are using Amazon brand analytics to glean market and product insights. So there's a lot of tools, obviously, on Amazon that you can take advantage of. One of the ones that they did not discuss in their report was what the usage rate was for Amazon advertising. Advertising is a significant and growing profit center for Amazon and for eBay and a lot of the other sites. And it is actually the third largest advertising platform after Google and Facebook. And they don't talk about how many users were taking advantage of the Amazon marketing tools and how much money was being spent there. So again, if you are an Amazon seller, do you do advertising? Do you do whatever the Amazon equivalent of promoted listings is over there? Again, I don't sell there, so I can't really comment on it, but Amazon seemed reticent to share that data. Last piece, and this is one that if you are here in the live, feel free to chime in on this, but there is a really good article over on Fast Company on how Amazon has changed shopping forever and a discussion about what they think is coming next. They say from 2-day shipping to checkout free stores, Amazon keeps resetting customer expectations and changing the game for all retail. The article says Amazon is not really a retailer, which is true. It's a technology company with a relentless dissatisfaction with the status quo. That is what has enabled them to get where they are today, says Natalie Berg, founder of the NBK Retail Consultancy and the co-author of a book, Amazon, How the World's Most Relentless Retailer Will Continue to Revolutionize Commerce. They did a quick interview with her. One of the questions was, what are the most significant ways that Amazon has rewired consumer behavior since its launch 27 years ago? She says, quote, if you think back to online shopping in the early 2000s, it was a pretty laborious process. We tend to forget this because today it's effortless. We have Amazon to thank for that. It pioneered personalized recommendations, user-generated ratings, and reviews, which seem so commonplace now. Same with one-click checkout. And we expect delivery to be fast, reliable, and free, though they point out there is an environmental cost to all those cardboard boxes turning up. This is one of the big areas, and we've talked about on this channel previously that Amazon has had a huge impact, particularly for online retail. The expectation of super fast and free delivery. There's no such thing, obviously, and we all know it, as free delivery. Someone is paying to get an item shipped from point A to point B, whether it's you or, as is the case, whether you advertise free shipping or not, the customer. That is essentially, for my case, when I've offered free shipping, I've tried to build it into the price. That has become harder and harder to do as the price increases become more significant and more frequent. So I've gone to a customer paid shipping model, despite Amazon, the 800-pound gorilla in the room, continuing to offer free shipping, especially with Amazon Prime, which is another thing that you have seen kind of trickle down into other retailers. Walmart now has a similar program. I can't think off the top of my head what it's called, where you can pay an annual subscription and have access to free same or next day delivery. So the impact of Amazon is not just on online retailers, but it's been on everywhere. The other aspect of that has been the returns process. Now, there was a post on Instagram a couple of days ago where someone was talking about all of the Amazon returns, and they had a picture of an entire room full of Amazon returns that had come back. Amazon is not totally responsible for that. I spent, as I've talked about numerous times, 30 years in the retail environment, and as retailers cut back on the number of employees in their stores, one of the ways that they tried to talk about customer service was offering these just ludicrous return policies. You could essentially return anything at any time for any reason, really no questions asked, and get your money back, sometimes even without a receipt. So retailers brought a lot of that onto themselves. Amazon, of course, has taken it to the next step. It's very difficult, obviously, to police returns online. A customer can select any reason from a whole host of them, and they are smart enough to understand that didn't like, doesn't fit, whatever is not necessarily the way to get a free return. So they blame it on the seller. Item not as described, item not as listed, item defective, whatever the case may be, to get a free return when actually it's the customer's fault. And it's unfortunately a cost of doing business for us as sellers. But if you're an Amazon seller, the individual who posted that on Instagram said his return rate, or her, I'm not sure, was double on Amazon what it was on eBay. So it's a significant cost of doing business, and it is the result of both traditional retail and, to some extent, Amazon. The article points out that Amazon has led the race to the bottom on delivery expectations. One of the things that Prime did was to remove the need to consolidate orders. You could just choose that random thing that you needed straight away, and it would turn up the next day, and you'd feel no guilt about it. That's starting to shift. There's an opportunity now to retrain customers to expect slower delivery. And we've noticed, if you've bought anything on Amazon, if you've made multiple purchases, especially if they're coming from different places within Amazon, you have the option, and sometimes they even incentivize that with a digital credit towards something in their Amazon video store or whatnot, to have everything show up on a particular day all in one box, and it still be free. So Amazon is making the effort in this case to lower the expectation. And I think part of that, again, is a play potentially for, in particular, the millennials and the Gen Zs, who are very environmentally conscious and don't necessarily like the idea of 10 boxes over 10 days when they can get one box on one day and do without all of the waste and the other environmental impacts. Amazon is also, of course, looking to change physical retail. They purchased, was it Whole Foods, and they've kind of made some changes within that organization. They are also opening their own pop-up stores. Checkout is one of the big areas where they are experimenting. Amazon sees it as a problem that they can solve to differentiate themselves from the competition. and then, of course, sell and license their technology to other retailers. There's a section in the book that talks about J is for Just Walk Out, which is the checkout free option that Walmart offers, where you just load up your bag or your cart and you walk out the door, and Amazon somehow through RFID or whatever technology it is they're using knows what you've got in your cart and charges you for it appropriately. So that's really interesting. Amazon, of course, they've essentially embedded themselves in a lot of people's lives through things like Alexa, which can funnel purchases directly to Amazon's platform. You don't need to go to the store or to a screen to go shopping, because you can be in your kitchen and just ask Alexa to add things to your list. In the future, consumers will be able to completely opt out of the transaction. We'll never have to think about buying bleach and toilet paper and toothpaste, all the non-emotive, boring things that we all need but don't really want to think about. The interviewer says, that seems a little creepy, and the person who was being interviewed says, I agree, but getting in a stranger's car was creepy 10 years ago, and now it's just normal, talking, of course, about Uber and Lyft. So the marketplace has definitely changed. In those areas, Amazon has been a huge impact, obviously, on shopping and on shoppers' behaviors and expectations. They are also the one who probably has the best chance to start to rein some of that in. As we talked about a moment ago, they're already kind of doing that in terms of delivery expectations. We can only hope that they will begin to do that with customer returns as well. My personal experience, I've talked about this a couple of times on this show. I've had items that I didn't need or didn't work for me for whatever reason that I've bought from Amazon, and when I requested a return, they gave me a refund and essentially told me I could keep the item. So they seem to still kind of be going the other way on that rather than reining it in. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. I appreciate it. If you want to catch the full Reselling News podcast, click the video in the upper right-hand corner. To never miss a show, you can subscribe down below.